So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a very short span of time within 30 minutes. The idea is very simple. We want you to save time so that you can read or cover other parts of your UPSC syllabus as well. Therefore, we will be covering the current affairs within 30 minutes. Now, just watching this lecture would be job half done because just after watching it, you need to revise it as well. Why? Well, revision helps in consolidating these current affairs in your memory. Otherwise, you'll quickly forget them. Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes shall be shared on our Telegram platform. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. Alright then, let's begin today's session. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. So here's the list. Number 1 in this list is Global Pandemic Treaty. Recently, WHO released a draft of Global Pandemic Treaty. Now, what is this Global Pandemic Treaty? Why was it needed? What are its key clauses? And what will be its impact? We'll talk about all of that. Okay. Then recently, Tamil Nadu government banned mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is used in a lot of dishes, fast food dishes. So why did Tamil Nadu government decide to ban? Surely it has some health concerns. What are those health concerns? We'll talk about that. Then recently, Odisha government declared Simlipal Tiger Reserve to be a national park. This will be 107th national park in the country and second national park within the state of Odisha. So we'll talk about this issue, and in the end we'll talk about Shimla Agreement. Okay. Now, we all know that India put Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, and in reply to that, well, Pakistan government put Shimla Agreement in abeyance. So what is this Shimla Agreement? What will happen if both India and Pakistan put this agreement in abeyance? Okay, what will be its impact basically? We'll talk about this. So these are the 4 topics that we shall zero in our attention on. Let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number 1, and that is Global Pandemic Treaty. So, WHO agreed on a draft of legally binding treaty designed to tackle future pandemics. So, as you all know, that COVID-19 pandemic basically disrupted the entire world. Now, some lessons were learned, okay? And this time around, if the world faces another pandemic, we would want to be better prepared. And by better preparation means that all the countries should coordinate their actions, should work together so that the pandemic can be defeated very early and quickly, and a lot of lives could be saved. So, from these lessons learned, well, WHO thought that we need to create a mechanism so that countries can cooperate. Okay, therefore, WHO negotiated this pandemic treaty, which different countries have signed, and once they have signed it, ratified it, well, they would coordinate their actions, they would be bound by this treaty to coordinate. Okay, so that we can defeat this pandemic in future if it occurs. Okay, now mind you, USA is not part of this pandemic, as we all know that USA decided to opt out of WHO. Nonetheless, this deal, whose negotiation started on December 2021 when COVID-19 pandemic was still going on, the Omicron variant was still going on. Okay, now this is expected to be ratified by many countries at the World Health Assembly to be held in May. Now, this is the second global health treaty negotiated under WHO. The first one was Tobacco Control Treaty. So after Tobacco Control Treaty, well, Global Pandemic Treaty would be the second treaty. It is the only legally binding treaty in the WHO's 75-year history. The first one was Tobacco Control Treaty. Okay. Now the question is, why did we need this treaty? Why did WHO feel in December 2021 that we need to have a legally binding treaty so that countries are legally bound to cooperate together in a future pandemic-like situation? Okay, what was the need for this treaty? Well, a 2022 study published by journal Nature revealed that more than 1 million lives could have been saved if COVID-19 vaccines had been shared more equitably with lower income countries. During COVID-19 pandemic, what happened was that there were some countries who were technologically advanced and they were able to create vaccines. Now, because there was such a panic in the air, okay, there was a lot of panic, among all countries. So because of that, all these countries decided to stockpile these vaccines. Okay, all these countries decided to store these vaccines with themselves, and they refused to share it with developing countries. Okay, because of that, many lives were lost in developing countries, right? This was one reason. That is why WHO thought that, well, we need to create a mechanism under which all these countries who have higher scientific or technological acumen, or who are able to develop these vaccines or any other treatments, right? They are bound to share it with the rest of the world. Apart from taking care of their own population, they are bound to share it with the rest of the world. We need a legally bound treaty for that. That is why this treaty was signed. The virus had claimed more than 7 million lives, but 1 million lives, as per WHO, were lost because developed countries refused to share these vaccines. I'm so sorry. So, poor strategic choices, unwillingness to tackle inequalities, and the uncoordinated system cost so many lives. Hence, we need this treaty. Now, what are some of the provisions of this draft treaty? Okay. First principle is pathogen access and benefit sharing system. So, whichever country is able to basically study the virus or bacteria properly, okay, they have to share their scientific findings with the rest of the world. Okay, so it gives pharmaceutical companies access to scientific data such as pathogen samples and genomic sequences. So, countries, for example, India, basically studies a particular virus, okay, which has become a pandemic. Now India is bound to share it with the pharmaceutical companies so that they can develop vaccines. Now India will share this data in the hope that these pharmaceutical companies, once they develop vaccines or treatments, they would share those treatments and vaccines back with them. This is the system of pathogen access and benefit sharing system. Okay, under the benefit sharing system, 10% of the production of vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics will be shared with WHO by these companies, and another 10% will be supplied at affordable prices. Now, the remaining 80%, well, they can charge whatever price they want to charge with the remaining 80%. Okay. Now, this would ensure that in future situation of a pandemic, well, treatments are shared equitably across the world, vaccines are shared, okay, many things are shared. Clear? So this is a good thing. But some people are already criticizing this treaty. They are saying that all these things look good on paper, but it would be difficult for WHO to basically force these countries to follow whatever is being negotiated under this treaty. Basically, under this treaty, WHO has no power. The agreement does not give WHO the power over individual states. So if one particular country is refusing to share data, well, WHO cannot force it. So in future, even if that country has signed and ratified that treaty, in future if it decides it doesn't want to share any benefits, well, there is no penal action against them. WHO has no authority over them. This means that in a situation like fierce competition for COVID-19 vaccines, like it was, okay, WHO would have no way to ensure countries adhere to the terms of this treaty. Clear? Also, currently, there is no clarity over this pathogen access and benefit sharing system. There is no clarity how will this function. Clear? So, some people are saying that this treaty is like a toothless tiger. Okay, it is a tiger, but it cannot attack you because it lacks teeth. WHO lacks teeth to force countries to follow the provisions of this treaty. This is the only criticism that is being leveled. All right. Nonetheless, let's see what happens. Currently, this treaty is in its draft stage. Then it will be signed by different countries once it's presented at World Health Assembly. Let's see how it plays out. Okay. But the initial situation or the current situation is this. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to second news item, which is Tamil Nadu bans egg mayonnaise. So Tamil Nadu government has banned the manufacture, storage, distribution and sale of mayonnaise made using raw eggs, citing public health risks. So Tamil Nadu, earlier Telangana also did that. So Tamil Nadu has banned mayonnaise for 1 year. Now what is mayonnaise? You all must have had this condiment at least once in your life, okay? If you're familiar with fast foods, well, you would have tasted mayonnaise, okay? Now what is mayonnaise? It is described as a condiment, as a semi-solid emulsion containing egg yolk, vegetable oil, vinegar, and other seasonings. Now, people say that this dish or this condiment emerged in France or Spain, but there are many stories of origin, so no one knows where it started. Any which way, well, mayonnaise is made up of a lot of things, but the key ingredient in mayonnaise is raw eggs. And this is the problem. That is why, because of this key ingredient in mayonnaise, Tamil Nadu has decided to ban it. Now, why are raw eggs problematic? Okay, look, eggs are generally known to contain a lot of viruses and bacteria, pathogens. Okay, but you don't get any disease from these pathogens because these pathogens die in the cooking process. When you make omelets or when you boil these eggs, then well, you don't get infected by these pathogens because these pathogens are, well, they're killed during the cooking process, during the heating process. But what is so special about mayonnaise is that mayonnaise uses raw eggs. These eggs are not heated. This egg yolk in these raw eggs is used directly. Okay, so mayonnaise uses raw eggs, which increase the risk of food poisoning. Now, this is especially relevant in Indian scenario. Why? Well, in India, well, there have been a lot of complaints with respect to hygiene, storage, okay, improper preparation and storage. Plus, India's climate, especially southern India's climate, is hot and humid. Hot and humid climate is the most friendly climate for pathogens to flourish. Okay, so because of India's hot and humid climate, plus because of lack of cleanliness and hygiene standards in many places, well, raw eggs have a high risk of having pathogens that cause food poisoning. Now, there are two pathogens in particular that were flagged by Tamil Nadu government. Tamil Nadu government says that usage of these raw eggs can cause salmonella infection or E. coli infection. Okay, salmonella and E. coli both are different types of bacteria that cause what? Food poisoning. So let's talk about salmonella and E. coli. So salmonella, it is a bacteria that is a leading cause of foodborne illnesses, hospitalizations, and deaths worldwide. It flourishes in warm, humid weather. Okay, and the symptoms of salmonella infection includes watery diarrhea, vomiting, and stomach cramps. So this is a risk. This bacteria is a risk. Then E. coli. It is a bacteria which can cause infections in the gut, urinary tract, and other parts of the body. Now, here's the thing. E. coli has many strains. Some strains are beneficial for the human body. They don't cause any harm. But some strains are harmful. They cause stomach infection, urinary tract infection. Well, these harmful strains are also there in raw eggs, okay, which can cause different types of illnesses. Now, doctors say that these bacteria can affect everyone. But the people who are most vulnerable to these bacterial infections are those who are immunocompromised individuals who are already suffering from a disease under which their immune system is compromised, children and the elderly. Clear? That's it. All right. Now let's move on to third news item, which is Simlipal Tiger Reserve to be National Park. So Odisha government notified Simlipal Tiger Reserve world's only home to wild melanistic tigers. Okay, so Simlipal Tiger Reserve is the only tiger reserve in the world where wild melanistic tigers are found. Now, what are these melanistic tigers? We'll talk about them. Okay, so Simlipal Tiger Reserve has been declared a national park. Now, with this announcement, Simlipal National Park would be the 107th national park in our country. Okay, so India has total 107 national parks. Okay, plus it will be the second national park of Odisha, apart from Bhitarkanika National Park. Okay, now Simlipal Tiger Reserve has been in existence for many decades, but since 1980, proposals have been tabled that this tiger reserve should be declared a national park. But since 1980 till now, 2025, it wasn't declared a national park. But now it has been. Okay. Now, what is important for you to know is, especially if you are practicing MCQs, okay, the thing is that UPSC can ask you questions related to how a national park is declared. Who has the power to declare a national park, whether it's central government or state government, right? And who manages a national park, central government or state government, right? These questions are important. So you need to remember this. It is the power of state government to declare any ecologically sensitive area as national park. State governments declare national park. The power not lies with, it doesn't lie with the central government, it lies with the state government. That's why we say Odisha government. Okay, so state government can declare any ecologically sensitive area as national park through a notification, official notification published in state gazette. Okay, so state governments have the power. Okay, apart from that, you need to know a few facts about national parks. Okay, so once a particular region has been declared a national park, all private rights in that land are extinguished. Okay, so anyone who has a private property over there, every private property rights will be extinguished. This land will now belong to state government. Plus, once an area is declared as a national park, it basically suspends all commercial, agricultural, and industrial activities. So if some mining projects were going on in this area, they won't be done. Okay, all activities, commercial, agricultural, industrial activities would cease to exist, but some tourism activities, ecotourism activities would be allowed. Now, the responsibility of managing these national parks lies with the state government. But some national parks have some protected species. For example, Simlipal National Park has tigers. So, the overall responsibility would lie with state government. But for tigers protection, National Tiger Conservation Authority would also be involved in the management of this national park. Okay. Similarly, there are some other protected species. For them, state government would also require participation from National Wildlife Board. Clear? Now, state government decides which area will be a national park, and state government also decides the boundary of that national park. Okay, but once a national park has been declared, then the state cannot alter the boundary of that national park without the approval of National Wildlife Board. So for changing the boundary of this national park, approval of National Wildlife Board is required. Clear? So these are some of the facts that you should know about national parks. Now, let's talk about Simlipal Tiger Reserve. Okay, so its location is in Odisha's Mayurbhanj district. Okay, what are the animal species, faunal species found over there? So it is host to 40 Royal Bengal tigers. 25% of Odisha's elephants are in this national park. 360 species of birds, diverse mammals like leopard, sambar, mugger, crocodiles are there. As far as flora is concerned, plants. Well, forests of Simlipal are a mix of sal trees, moist deciduous, semi-evergreen types, creates a complex and thriving habitat for flora fauna. Plus, it is also home to 104 orchid species. Orchid is a type of flower. Okay, so 104 species of this orchid flower is found in Simlipal National Park. Some of these species are endemic, exclusive to this region. But this Simlipal National Park or Simlipal Tiger Reserve is most famous for a particular species of tigers called melanin tigers. Okay, because tigers in Simlipal Tiger Reserve or National Park have higher than normal melanin. Therefore, they are more black in color with yellow stripes. As you can see over here, these tigers in Simlipal are more blacker, right? So they are different. They are called wild melanistic tigers. They are only found in Simlipal Tiger Reserve. Clear? So this is the special feature of Simlipal National Park. All right. And now let's move on to the last topic of the day, which is Shimla Agreement. So following India's response to Pahalgam terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan announced that it would place the Shimla Agreement of 1972 in abeyance. Now, this decision has raised concerns about the future of peace and stability in the region, especially across line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, about Shimla Agreement. So, Shimla Agreement was signed after India defeated Pakistan in the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. Okay, so it was signed on 2nd July 1972 in Shimla, Himachal Pradesh in the aftermath of Indo-Pak War 1971. It was signed by India's Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and the then President of Pakistan, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Now, what were the objectives of this agreement, Shimla Agreement? First of all, both sides decided to peacefully resolve the Kashmir issue. That was the objective. Then, Kashmir issue would be resolved bilaterally. No third party, US, Russia, UN, no one would be involved. As per Shimla Agreement, if you have to solve Kashmir issue, only India and Pakistan will resolve it bilaterally. Plus, in future, if there are any disputes between India and Pakistan, there should be a framework so that these disputes can be resolved peacefully, right? So this was the third objective. Now, what are some of the features, key clauses of this Shimla Agreement? First of all, this clause or this treaty or this agreement finalized line of control. Okay, so the ceasefire line of 1971 was made line of control, which both countries would respect as borders only. Okay, no one would change this line of control. Then, both the countries decided to peacefully resolve Kashmir issue without third party intervention. This was very important. Then, because India won the 1971 war, so during that victory, well, India captured around 93,000 Pakistani soldiers. So, under this treaty, these 93,000 Pakistani soldiers were to be released. Okay, and normalization of diplomatic ties between the two countries. These were the key clauses. Now, the thing is, if Pakistan completely suspends this treaty, then that means that both countries would not recognize line of control and the area would be free for anyone who can capture it. Okay. Plus, another significant point is that now Pakistan is legally free, if it suspends this treaty, is legally free to call any third party for the resolution of Kashmir issue. Okay. So these are the two major points or significant points that we have to watch out for if both countries decide to completely do away with Shimla Agreement. Okay, that's all. That's the only thing that you need to know from this. And that would be all. With that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But it would add more value if you revise this lecture carefully, properly. Just spend 15 to 20 minutes more, but revise it thoroughly. Only then you'll be able to remember these current affairs for longer periods of time. On that note, I'll be signing off with the promise of seeing you again with another set of MCQs. Thank you, everyone.